Hi everyone! Today's video is a little different. Ever since I became a chef here in Australia, one of the questions I get asked the most is, what is it actually like being a chef in Australia? Most people expect me to talk about the salary, the visa, or whether it's a good pathway for permanent residency here. Those things are important and maybe I'll make another video about them. But today, I want to have a little sharing session. I want to tell you what it actually felt like becoming a chef. Because if I'm honest, I don't think anyone really prepared me for it. I still remember there is this one guy that I met during my working holiday, and he was a chef. One day he told me, I actually miss the kitchen. I remember thinking, why? Out of all the joys, why would you miss a kitchen? I mean, it's hot and you're standing all day and it's stressful. People are constantly rushing around. At the time, I genuinely didn't understand. But now, I completely understand what he meant. My journey into becoming a chef wasn't planned at all. I came to Australia on a 462 working holiday visa. Like most people on working holiday, I did all sorts of jobs. Farm work, factory work, and some laboratory work as well. I was just taking opportunities as they came. And then in October 2023, as I start my culinary study, I got a job as a kitchen hand in Brisbane. And looking back, I don't think I was prepared for how different this industry is gonna be. One thing people don't really tell you is that just because chefs are on demand doesn't mean you'll immediately have a stable work. Restaurants can't always promise you consistent hours. Everything depends on bookings, and you can only confirm the booking number the day before. Some weeks are busy, some weeks aren't, and sometimes you'll only know your roster the day before, whether it's gonna be cancelled or not. Your income can go up and down so quickly. That was something I never experienced before, because in the farm job, the only thing that will cancel your shift is the weather or your attitude. But in the restaurant industry, no. It all depends on the booking numbers, especially if you're working as a casual. I stayed in that kitchen for a few months, and then one day, the shifts just stopped. I wasn't called back anymore. At first, I thought they were maybe just quiet, so they don't call me back, so I waited. But eventually, I realized that they simply just weren't calling me back anymore. So I reached out to them, because I genuinely wanted a feedback, not because I wanted to argue, but because I just want to know what I could improve on. If I had done something wrong, I wanted to learn from it. But because I was employed as a casual, they didn't really have the obligation to explain why. So I never got an answer. Honestly, that was one of the hardest moments for me. When someone tells you what you did wrong, at least you know what you've been doing wrong and you know how to overcome it. But when no one tells you anything, your mind starts creating your own answers. Maybe I wasn't fast enough, maybe I wasn't learning quickly enough, maybe I just wasn't good enough. That uncertainty stayed with me for a long time. And because of that experience, I became afraid of going back into another kitchen. So I went back to doing odd jobs just to pay the bills. I worked in a warehouse that supplied premium food products. We packed all kinds of cheeses, caviar, and other products for restaurants. Eventually, I also didn't get called back to this job, and the agency called me one day that I'm not going back to work there. So I tried to find another job, which is driving for Uber Eats. And then unfortunately, I got into a car accident, so I had to let my car go. Looking back, I think that was probably the lowest point that I've been during my time in Australia. Not only because of the accident, but because I couldn't seem to find somewhere I truly belonged. Finding job wasn't the hardest part. Keeping one was. Every time I thought I was doing okay, it's gonna be okay, something would happen. The work would disappear, or I wouldn't be called back, or I would start wondering whether I simply wasn't good enough. Around that time, I kept remembering something that one of my teachers told us at school. He said, "Never let anyone tell you you're not good enough. Not your chef, not anyone in this industry." At the beginning, I didn't really understand why he said that. But now I do, because kitchen can really make you question yourself. Sometimes you will receive criticism that helps you improve. Sometimes you don't receive any feedback. And when that happens, it's very easy to let your mind to be your biggest critic. I honestly think I needed to hear those words. Even now, I still remember them. Something else only started making sense after I became a chef. Growing up, food had always been a part of my life. My mom used to have small food businesses. Sometimes she sold cakes, sometimes she opened a little restaurant from our house, or sometimes she opened a stand in a local Sunday market in Semarang, my hometown. When I was young, I'm not young anymore, but when I was still in Indonesia, sometimes I helped her to prepare her ingredients for the customers. I remember removing the roots from bean curds, one by one. At the time, I thought it was unnecessary because almost all the places that we went to, when we eat and when we serve the bean sprouts, it's usually served with the roots. So why are we doing this? I didn't understand, but now I do. She wasn't teaching me how to cook. She was teaching me discipline. She cared about details most people wouldn't notice. I don't think I inherited the cooking skills from my mom, but I do think I inherited her standards. And looking back, those standards helped me survive in professional kitchens long before I had the technical skills. But everything started changing in February 2024. After the car accident, I decided to give kitchens one more chance, and this time I found a restaurant where the head chef believed in me as their kitchen hand. He offered me more hours, and later on I asked whether I can complete my work placement there, and he said yes. It still wasn't easy, but for the first time, I felt like someone was giving me room to grow instead of expecting me to already know everything. Which sometimes when you work 16 hours a day every day, you will have some degree of unreasonable standards and expectations, but that's just part of the job, I guess. After I finished my placement, more opportunities started coming. I worked in breakfast section and then in catering, events. Eventually, I moved to fine dining. Each kitchen taught me something different. Each service challenged me in a different way. And somewhere along the journey, I stopped asking myself, am I good enough? Instead, I started asking, how can I become better today? I think that's when everything changed. So, do I recommend being a chef in Australia? I think it really depends on why you're doing it. If you are expecting an easy pathway, nope. You're probably gonna be disappointed because the beginning is gonna be unstable. You'll doubt yourself, you'll make mistakes, you'll feel slow even though you've done your best, and you will compare yourself to everyone around you. But if you're willing to learn and you are willing to stay humble and then keep showing up, this career can teach you so much. Not only in the kitchen or the knowledge that is about food, it will teach you many things that you can apply in other areas of life. And remember the chef that I mentioned in the beginning? The one that told me he missed being in the kitchen? I guess now I understand what he felt. I don't miss being tired or getting burned or the heat, but I think I do like the rhythm, the teamwork, especially after a long service and you accomplish it together. It's just amazing. The dopamine is just whoop. I never planned to become a chef, but life just happened to lead me here, and somehow it ended up becoming the most meaningful chapter of my life. If you are thinking about becoming a chef, I hope this video gave you a more honest picture of what the journey can look like. And if you are in a season where you're doubting yourself, I hope you'll remember what my teacher told me. Don't let anyone decide your worth for you. Thank you so much for watching, and if you have any more questions about becoming a chef here in Australia, you can always leave a comment down below, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye!